Sa video na ito, pag-uusapan natin ang step-by-step process ng pagbili ng lupa ng isang OFW, kasama na rin ang mga dapat bayaran at kung gaano katagal ma-transfer ang titulo. Hello mga tangay! Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, I'm Janice. I'm a retired OFW together with my husband, and we are starting our next chapter here in the Philippines. This video is our third installment of our 4-part series titled Pabili ng Lupa, and this is an OFW's foolproof guide to owning residential land. Now, if you haven't watched our first and second episodes yet, the first video is about our experience buying land in Palawan, and the second is about the things that you need to avoid, no, mga dapat iwasan at saka mga dapat tandaan sa pagbili ng lupa. I will put the links to those videos in the description box and in the card above. Now, for this video, we will talk about the step-by-step process. Paano ba bumili ng lupa? Now, supposing that you've already watched the 2 videos and you've already done your due diligence, na check nyo na, okay na kayo sa lupa na bibilihin niyo. Supposing na andito na kayo sa stage na bibilihin nyo na talaga yung lupa, ano ba yung mga dapat nyong gawin, ano? Bilang OFW, ang gagawin lang talaga natin, lalo na kung nasa ibang bansa tayo, mag-issue ng isang Special Power of Attorney or SPA. So, what do? Once you have the SPA, you go to the consulate to have it notarized, and then you send it to your authorized representative in the Philippines, and then yung representative nyo na yung gagawa ng mga dapat gawin, sa pagbili ng lupa. Now, to give you more information as to the step-by-step process, we interviewed Tita Ivy Gabo. She's the mother of my sister-in-law, and she's our go-to person whenever we have questions about buying land, issues sa titulo, lahat ng mga tanong namin tungkol sa pagbili ng lupa. Siya talaga yung aming advisor na pinagtatanungan because she's been in this industry for 20 years, and she has helped companies and OFWs in securing land here in Palawan. So, I hope that her discussion will be helpful to you. So, here's Tita Ivy. Sige po, Tita. Andito muna ako sa likod ng camera para may social distancing tayo, ano. So, today we're here with Tita Ivy Gabo, and she has helped so many OFWs and clients, companies to buy land. At ngayon po ay tuturuan niya tayo kung paano bumili ng lupa. Ano po ba yung step-by-step na proseso sa pagbili ng lupa?
So, first step na gagawin natin sa pagbili ng residential lot, alamin natin kung malinis ba ang title. Mache-check natin kung malinis ang title sa Register of Deeds. Okay, then, kailangan makikita natin na wala siyang annotation. So, dapat mag-request tayo ng certified copy ng title. So, makikita natin lahat doon kung ano yung mga annotations niya. Okay. And then, check din natin sa assessors kung bayad ba ang taxes. Wala siyang mga utang sa tax. Alamin din natin kung wala bang tenants or squatter doon sa area. Pwede tayong pumunta sa barangay office para matanong natin yung barangay kapitan kung wala bang problema yung lupa. Kasi usually pag may problema, doon talaga sa barangay yan sinisettle. So, kapag na-check na natin at nagkasundo na sa presyo, pwede na tayong pumunta sa abogado para paggawa ng deed of sale, acknowledgement receipt. Pwede rin doon na tayo magbayaran sa harap ng attorney. Doon sa harap ng attorney, pwede na rin natin pag-usapan kung sino yung magbabayad sa mga gastos para sa transfer. Usually kasi yan, ang nagbabayad ng capital gain tax at attorney's fee at 5% ng agent, kung may agent, ay yung seller. And then the rest na expenses para sa pag-transfer, sinasagot na yan ng buyer. Depende rin yun sa arrangement, sa usapan. Ang mga dapat nating bayaran sa pagbibili ng lupa, unang-una ay attorney's fee, capital gains tax, transfer fee, 5% ng agent, tsaka registration sa Register of Deeds. Kompleto na yung mga papers natin, bayad na tayo sa BIR, meron tayong certificate of registration, pwede na natin siyang ipasok sa Register of Deeds. Kailangan sa Register of Deeds na isosurrender na natin yung original title, original deed of sale. Puro original ito dapat ha, pag sa RD na tayo. Original certificate of registration from BIR, tax clearance, land holdings. Total land holdings, kukunin natin ito sa provincial assessor at saka city assessors para makita kung yung paglilipatan mo ng title ay walang maraming lupa. So, yun, kailangan ng total land holdings. Sa BIR pala, it takes 1 to 2 weeks kung kumpleto yung papel natin na pinasok sa BIR, makukuha na natin yung car. And then, sa ano naman, sa Register of Deeds, mga 2 to 3 weeks din ang proseso kapag kumpleto din. At tama yung walang mga errors yung mga documents natin. So, yung mga 3 weeks makukuha natin yung ating title sa pangalan na ng buyer.
So in total po, gaano katagal po yung
1
buong
to 2
proseso?
months. 1 month, pwedeng 1 month mabilis na yan, pero depende pa kung sabi ko nga kung merong, kasi pag na-check sa RD at may kulang, may mga erasure o may mga error, mga clerical error, so ibabalik yan ng ano sa naglalakad. Kailangan yun may SPA yung maglalakad ng papel. Kung sino yung bibigyan mo ng ano, kailangan may SPA siya.
Sino po ang pwedeng mag-asikaso? Yung naka-SPA, pwede bang kaibigan o magulang?
Kaibigan, kapatid, kung sino. Pwede rin kung sa agent, pwede rin yung agent kung gusto mo nang maglalakad. Pag agent na kakilala mo, kasi usually ang agent kakilala ng owner, na seller, ganyan. So, ikaw yung mag-a-assign kung sino yung gusto mo at mapagkakatiwalaan mo. Bibigyan mo siya ng SPA.
So ano po ba yung sa tingin nyo mas maganda? Yung agent na yung mag-asikaso o family member?
Mas maganda kasi yung agent, kasi usually ang agent, alam niya na yung proseso. Mas madali niyang malalakad ang papel kung alam niya na yung mga requirements, alam niya na yung kung saan siya pupunta. So, mas maganda agent.
Kung agent po yung mag-aasikaso, babayaran po ba to separately nung buyer?
Oo, babayaran. Doon sa processing fee yan. Oo, meron siyang babayaran. Sa ngayon, ang singil ng mga agent at ng mga naglalakad ng mga papeles is, pag residential is 10,000.
Regardless kung gaano kalaki po yung lupa?
Oo, regardless kung gaano kalaki. Basta 10,000 yan. 10,000 yung kanyang processing fee. Labas yun sa mga babayaran ng mga ginagastos pag-request ng mga documents na kailangan, mga requirements.
And then kapag halimbawa po agent ang naglakad, sa kanya na rin po ba i-release yung title?
Kasi kung sino yung binigyan mo ng SPA at sino naglakad, sa kanya rin i-release yung title.
Pero ang pangalan po ng nakalagay sa title yung buyer.
Oo, buyer na. Kaya nga kailangan bago ka mag-issue ng SPA, talagang trusted mo yung bibigyan mo ng SPA.
Ano-ano po yung mga dahilan kung bakit napapatagal yung pag-transfer ng title?
Usually naman pagka, siyempre, bago mo babayaran, no, na-check mo na rin lahat ng mga dapat mong i-check. So, doon na lang tatagal yan sa mga dokumento na pinasok mo. Kailangan talagang tama lahat. Kasi yung Register of Deeds natin ay talagang maano yan siya, mag-check ng papel.
Pero doon naman po, kasi syempre kukuha ka ng documents from different government agencies, no po? Doon din po ba, mabilis din po ba ang pagkuha ng dokumento o tatagal din doon?
Sa ngayong ano natin, mabilis. Mas mabilis na ngayon ang pag-request ng mga documents na kailangan.
Dito po sa Palawan?
Dito sa Palawan, Puerto Princesa.
So, paano naman po kung bibilihin ng OFW ang isang lupa na installment?
Okay, pag installment naman, kailangan meron kayong contract to sell. Yun. Doon nakalagay yung inyong mga terms and conditions.
And then, kapag ka nabayaran na po?
Pagka nabayaran na, so, ayun, pipirma na kayo ng deed of sale, pwede nyo nang bayaran sa BIR, acknowledgement. So, para ma-process. Kasi, usually yan, ang isang condition doon sa kontrata nyo is, upon payment, ma-full payment mo yung lupa, saka ibibigay sa iyo ng seller ang title. So, pagka ganong installment, seller yan ang mag-process. Para pag na-release ang title, siya yung hahawak. Bago niya ibibigay sa buyer, pagka na-release, fully paid na siya. Yun, ganun.
Yung pag-transfer po ba ng title, kaninong responsibility po yun? Sino yung dapat nag-proseso nun? Yung buyer?
Depende rin sa arrangement niya sa usapan. Pwede rin yung buyer, pag fully paid na siya, kukunin niya na yung title, lahat ng mga kailangan kukunin niya na at siya na yung magpapalakad. So pwede rin, yung pag installment naman, usually yan, yung seller na muna yung pagpaprocess kasi para siya yung hahawak na yung title pag-release. Pwede niya nang ipatransfer sa name ng buyer pero hahawakan niya yung title.
Thank you very much for watching. I hope that was helpful. If you have questions, please pop them in the comment section below and I'll make sure to get them answered for you. But before I say goodbye, I would like to say hello first to those who have been watching our series. Thank you very much. Maraming salamat po sa patuloy na pagsubaybay and I hope that you're finding this valuable. I would like to say hello and thank you to Cherry Rose Obemio. Sabi niya, it's an inspiring video. Thank you for the information. Salamat din po. Salamat sa panonood. Also, I'd like to say hello and thank you to Primitivo Gatus. Salamat daw. Sabi niya, mature conversation and he hopes that all couples would do the same. So, he also hopes to visit Palawan. Yes, please visit Palawan. It's a beautiful, beautiful island. I'm sure you won't regret it. And then, I'd like to say hello and congratulations to FJ. I don't know if that's her real name. Maybe iba talaga, no? Pero still, congratulations. She's a young OFW in Japan. She's just 30 years old and she is with her 2 siblings. The other one is 23 and the other one is 21. And they are all in Japan. They're all working. And the good thing here is they've already bought 2 pieces of land. One is reserved for an apartment that they will build later on, and the other one is reserved for their own home. Overlooking pa siya. So really, I would like to say congratulations. It's job well done. Ang ganda ng start niyo dyan sa Japan. And kung tuloy-tuloy kayo, I'm sure talagang mas magiging successful ka pa. So congratulations. Even I'd like to say thank you sa iba pa po na mga patuloy na nanonood at nagbabasa sa mga. Of course, si Mikael and Lizzie, the video last week was especially for them, but I'm sure that they watch every single video that we produce. Now, for our last installment for this series, it will be about buying land in Palawan, the pros and cons of living in Puerto Princesa City, Palawan. The thing is, we've spoken to so many friends and people that we've gotten to know here through our channel, and many of them said that they want to buy land in the Philippines. Specifically, they want to move to Palawan. And the reason why we wanted to include that is because, of course, before you move to a place, you want to know from the locals there, what's it like living in that area. Because we are from Palawan, we would like to talk about it. If you want to consider buying land and moving to Palawan, we will give you the pros and cons of living here. What is it like to live here, so that will help you, guide you in making your decision in buying land here in the country's last frontier. So again, thank you very much for watching. It means a lot to us if you leave a like. If you click the like button, that means that you are you like our videos. That means a lot to us, and that makes us that pushes us to do more. Again, thank you very much for spending time with us. If this video gave you value and if this video was helpful, I hope that you would click the like button. Leave a comment below as to what videos you want us to cover next, so that we can offer to you content that you would need, that would cater to your needs. Again, we're doing this for OFWs. If you are an OFW and you're not yet subscribed to this channel, I hope that you would click that subscribe button and then turn on the notification bell so that you would be notified of our future videos, because we are doing this for you. We are also hoping that you would share this video with other OFWs so that they too will be part of our journey. Again, thanks for spending time with us and see you in the next video.